Today I have 3 poems for you. Each of them are different, but all are on the same theme. The first one is called Impression de Voyage. Hey, do you like that? Right. Well, why the title's in French, I've got no idea at all, because the poem's written in English. It's not about France, and the writer is Irish. Tell me why. Anyway, it's Oscar Wilde who wrote it. You've probably heard of him from his plays and books like Dorian Gray and The Importance of Being Earnest. Well, let's see what he has to say about today's theme. The sea was sapphire-coloured and the sky burned like a heated opal through air. We hoisted sail. The wind was blowing fair for the blue lands that to the eastward lie. From the steep prow I marked with quickening eyes Zacynthus, every olive grove and creek, Ithaca's cliff, Laocoon's snowy peak, and all the flower-strewn hills of Arcady. The flapping of the sail against the mast, the ripple of the water on the side, the ripple of girls' laughter at the stern, the only sounds. When 'gan the west to burn and a red sun upon the seas to ride, I stood upon the soil of Greece at last. Well, our next poem is very different. It's one that actually was birthed in my memory at an early age. In junior school, English lessons sometimes consisted of poetry readings, usually narrative poems such as The Highwayman by Alfred Noyes and The Song of Hiawatha by Longfellow. But this one is different. It's one by John Masefield and it's called Sea Fever. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind's song and the white sails shaking, and a grey mist on the sea's face and a grey dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again for the call of the running tide, as a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying and the flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a witted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over. I don't know why it's made such an impression. Perhaps the rhythm, I don't know, but I just loved it. Actually, I've got an extra little poem to add to those 3 that I've promised. It's a short one that's built on the back of my Masefield Sea Fever, and it goes like this. I must go down to the sea again, to the lonely sea and the sky. I left my shoes and socks there. I wonder if they're dry. I know, it's funny, but it's an accredited poem, and it was written by that genius comic Spike Milligan. Yeah, you can imagine it, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Well, it's not just me being silly. It's an actual poem, as I've just said. But it is really me being giddy. And why am I being giddy? Well, after years of suggesting and persuading on my part, yeah, I've actually press ganged Veronica into sailing away with me on a cruise. Yeah, great, wow, so fantastic. So, yes, I'm really giddy.
Yeah.
So, for my 3rd choice of sea-themed poems, I've chosen to read this very appropriate classic ode to sailing away. Got so many papers here today. Right. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a £5 note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are. You are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married, too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows, and there in a wood a piggywig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose. His nose, his nose. A ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy. I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand on the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon. The moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon.